Welcome into another edition of Ringside Review. I am Ethan Hrisadulu, once again joined alongside by Keegan Stiefel. We got some Monday Night Raw action to go over. John Cena finally speaking and breaking his silence since turning heel at Elimination Chamber. The Women's World title picture is slowly but surely forming into the triple threat that Keegan and I seem to be pretty much sure about at this point. Jey Uso and Gunther continue to just kind of attack each other in what is, in my opinion, a lackluster build towards Mania and a disappointment in my eyes. IC title picture gets wider and wider. And also, just a quick note from SmackDown that I think we can get into really quickly, Keegan, before we get going. But firstly, how are we feeling right now? Road to WrestleMania? We enjoying it?
There's too much time between the Rumble and WrestleMania this year. I know they pushed back WrestleMania, like a week or maybe even 2 weeks?
I think 2 weeks.
Yeah, I can feel the 2 weeks. It feels like it's been dragging along a little bit.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that. I feel like this is a change of pace, and I wonder if the Rumble ends up getting scooted back because of that. I like that there's more time to add story, but when I look at a build like Jey and Gunther and what they've got going on, I'm like, okay, this is a feud that could have ended a week ago, and I would have been okay with it. But quick note from SmackDown before we dive into the Raw stuff. Charlotte Flair, Tiffany Stratton, they're set to face off at WrestleMania, getting into an all-out brawl. I don't think anyone is ever disappointed when stuff like this goes on. I'm starting to get a little bit more sold on this match. I was already kind of in on it. I knew that this was something that was possibly inevitable once the Charlotte Flair return was announced for the Royal Rumble. She was my favorite to win the Royal Rumble, and I was not surprised that she ended up coming out with the victory. But now we have them getting into it. Stratton's holding her own. I want to ask you, Keegan, Charlotte Flair, the unstoppable force, the woman that wins all the championships in WWE. She is literally the women's version of John Cena, Ric Flair with the title she's won. Do you think that Stratton has any shot of coming out at WrestleMania champion?
No, but I don't say that in terms of I think they're just gonna, Charlotte wins clean and then moves on, and then Tiffany has to move somewhere else. I think the way they view this is maybe a longer term story, and it's already, like we said, everything feels like it's been going too long leading into WrestleMania, but maybe this is one of those situations where you take the belt off Stratton and then you make her the babyface chasing the heel. That feels like the way they would go about it. It's just classic wrestling, right? You're always going to tell a better story when the babyface is chasing, not when they're the champion. So that feels like the most likely outcome. I wouldn't be totally surprised if they just try to move in a different direction because they've had so much time with this build. But, conventional wisdom would say that they're going to take the belt off her and maybe let her chase it a little bit.
Yeah, the unfortunate reality is I'm kind of in the same boat with you too, and I was hoping that maybe you'd be on the other opposite end of that because I have a hard time believing with the way Charlotte's return was built and has been made out to be so far, her coming back and losing is a bit anticlimactic and setting up Tiffany to turn into the face because she's a weird tweener, I would say, at this moment where she was like a heel with Nia Jax, but then kind of turned face, but she still has the bratty attitude thing to her. So I feel like giving her a full-fledged face turn in the chase to Charlotte just makes a lot of logical sense. But I am looking forward to it more. I like the way that brawl kind of set things up with ultimately her flipping off of the LEDs of the stage to take out Charlotte Flair and all the security. They're making Stratton look like a legitimate threat and she has the chance. Yeah. So when you suspend the belief, you're like, oh my God, okay, maybe Tiffany's really able to get the upper hand here. But I do feel like I'm with you on that one. I was just curious what your thoughts were from that. We don't get to cover SmackDown much, so I wanted to touch on that a little bit. But let's take a look at Monday Night Raw. What everyone's here for. John Cena, Cody Rhodes finally going face-to-face. Before we got the face-to-face, though, John Cena essentially coming out and blaming his toxic relationship with the WWE Universe on the heel turn that we are currently witnessing here. I've got to say, my initial reaction, I'm kind of slightly underwhelmed, and I don't want to sound like I'm just hating to hate because this has been something that I have waited my entire life for at this point. I grew up with the John Cena golden shovel fully fledged in the making as it was happening, but I was hoping for a little bit more than some of you booed me, so I'm not happy about it anymore, especially it took him 20, 25 years to finally be upset about it. I'm a little bit lost on that, and I want to know if that was enough of an explanation for you, Keegan, and if you think that maybe that there's something else to it that we're not getting, because that was kind of the impression I was left with.
I believe because they know how long they have to get to WrestleMania, and they know where they're going, that maybe they're just giving us sprinkles of the truth, maybe. I loved aspects of this. I think the line about him saying, you wanted a new John Cena, but you're going to get the same guy because I'm not changing. You're the people who forced, the way I approach this to change, but as a human, I'm not changing. I still stand for the same things. I'm still going to wear my stupid t-shirts. I'm going to come out to the same song. I thought that was great because we talked about last week. I said, maybe he'll come out no music and he won't speak. And it'll be a full, you have to wait till WrestleMania to get the new John Cena. I like the idea of, I'm not changing. I'm not in the wrong. You're in the wrong, which is classic heel. The best heels in wrestling are the guys who make good points. They're just kind of a dick about it, and I think that's where they're going here. But in terms of the segment itself, I think it maybe went on a little too long. That was about 15 minutes of John Cena just talking, and it was great, and there were great aspects to it. Saying he was in an abusive relationship is just classic crybaby heel stuff. And then it kept going, and you were waiting for Cody to interrupt or whatever it might be. I was expecting a brawl, but they've done that a little too much in other aspects of the show, so I liked aspects of it. I think they did a good job leading into it. I liked that they didn't get physical. It was more of a Cody Rhodes saying, I want to fight John Cena. I don't want to fight a crybaby and a completely different version of the person that I grew up, or I went through this business idolizing. I liked that. It went on a little too long. There are still parts to this that I can't see. How are they going to make it all come together into one cohesive story? I don't know. But they got some good clips out there. I know TikTok's going to be going crazy. They'll have the 1 minute clip of him yelling at a little kid, and it'll be great.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the shot of the kid when he was calling him out, basically
right there,
calling him toxic. I mean, poor guy. He's just there to see John Cena, and he got a full-blown camera shot and everything, and he looked just as shocked as everybody else was when he did it. I do like that you pointed out some of the things that Cena said, because what really did hit home for me was that, like you had mentioned, we had talked about what is this heel turn going to look like, the music, and you looked at all over the internet. It was the constant speculation. This should be the song he comes out to. I was saying he should come out in a suit, full-fledged business Cena, this is for the company, full-blown, I wanted to see the whole nines, and we got literally the same exact guy telling all of us we were wrong for expecting anything different, and then telling us that, see, we're the problem. He made his point by doing nothing different, and the ability to do that I thought was really awesome and unique in a way. The one thing that I'm stuck on right now is just that it feels like there is a missing piece that we're probably not going to get till we get a little bit closer to WrestleMania. We might not even get till further down the line, because my expectation is Cena wins at WrestleMania. He has a bit of a run as a heel champion, and we get to see what that would look like as well. I feel like it would be very short-lived if he goes heel for Mania, loses, and then has a face run the rest of the way. It wouldn't make any sense to me. So my expectation is heel Cena with a championship, and we figure out more so why he is acting the way he is acting, because I find it hard to believe that somebody like him, the way he has been as a character on our TV screens for 20 some odd years, is just, well, you guys were booing me the whole time too, so now I'm mad about it, and I'm just deciding now during my farewell tour to let you know and get an inside view on how I really feel. That doesn't do it for me. I feel like there's a bigger answer there. The other thing I want to ask you about, because this is something that I've kind of felt for the last year, I'm bigger on Cody Rhodes than I think some people are. It depends on who you talk to. There's the diehard Rhodes fans, and then there's a very large group of people that aren't really big on him and feel like he's forced. After seeing the ovation that we got for Cody last night, or yesterday afternoon on Raw, the way the crowd sang for him, cheered for him, we had to sit there and just listen to them sing for him in the ring before he even got to say anything. And then I go back to other PLEs from within the last year with him as champion. I go back to France when he was defending his title against AJ. He is so over, not only just for this company, but when I look outside of the U.S., because I feel like he's not as over in the U.S. as he is outside overseas, he's reaching the popularity heights that Roman had, for that 4-year stretch that he had as champion. And I dare say, reaching those Rock and Stone Cold heights from the Attitude Era, he's getting reactions with the crowd that I don't think we have genuinely seen in a very long time. Am I off on that? Is Rhodes as big of a deal as I'm making him out to be right now? Because I didn't feel like this. I had kind of, but I was like, I didn't feel justified in those feelings until yesterday when I watched that crowd basically pour their love out to him.
You're 100% right. And having you explain it the way you did, and also I've thought this a little bit in the past too, he's the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and he is the most popular when he gets out of the United States. Like, anytime they're overseas, people lose their minds for Cody Rhodes. And I think that in and of itself, like, America is the heels of the world right now. And he's still being like the face, looking like Homelander with the American flag all over his tights and stuff like that. They still love him. And I think because when they go overseas, the fans that end up in these crowds are the diehards. They're people who follow along not just on TV, but the business side, whatever it might be. I think they see him as the definition of perseverance and the story of he had to leave and he had to start his own company and all that. We've all talked about it. We've heard about it, whatever it might be. You can see that kind of come to life in one person. So he's a little bit of hope for if you love a wrestler and they're not at a level that you want them to be right now, maybe they can get there. There's always hope that they can get there. So I think that's part of it. But I don't disagree with you at all over the fact that Stone Cold, The Rock, John Cena, early days, these peak height of their heights, just the number one guy in the company. I don't think it's crazy to say that he's getting to that level at all. And I think WWE business-wise is getting back to a point. They'll never reach what they were in the Attitude Era. Just the world is not that way anymore. But they're getting to a similar level to where they don't have to worry about selling out buildings and they can run bigger shows, whatever it might be, and they can do it because he's at the top of the card and they know that he's going to sell tickets. So I agree with you in terms of the crowd reaction and being a fan of wrestling. Like, we're not going to act like we're wrestling journalists or whatever it might be. Every time he comes out and the woe is getting ready, like he gets down on the knee, he's about to do the woe. I love it. And I think you probably love it too, because how couldn't you? It's classic professional wrestling.
Absolutely. I'm glad that I'm glad to hear you say that, because this is something that I feel like I've been stewing on for the last year, but I wasn't quite sure about it. And last night or yesterday afternoon, whatever it was, it solidified my feelings towards it. I've very much enjoyed the story arc of Cody Rhodes persevering, leaving WWE, doing what he did with AEW, and then coming back, and now he's this mega star to the level that, I mean, you have to wait on the crowd when you're overseas to have them basically, again, pour their hearts out to him and show him so much love and respect. I'm excited to see where this goes, and I really feel like we're at a point right now where Cody Rhodes is carrying the company on his back to the same level that Roman Reigns was. And if you're disagreeing with that, you either love Roman Reigns and hate the fact that Cody kind of took the torch from him at this point. But I'm left just wondering every single week now, what is going to be going on with Cody Rhodes? And I wasn't like that even just a handful of months ago. It's one of those things that I'm slowly but surely just buying into what's going on. And then last night we get Cody. He obviously has what he has to say to John Cena about basically asking the question that I feel like even I'm asking myself is like, who the hell is this guy that we're watching whine and complain about the fans? Cody asks himself that. And then from there we go into, all right, he has what he has to say about John Cena, drops the mic, and walks right out. Cena doesn't even get a chance to respond. They're doing such a good job with him, and he's doing such a good job himself of playing this song for us that we're all enjoying, and they're not missing a single beat. And now I'm sitting here like, all right, well, John Cena didn't even get to say anything to him. Like, where do we go from here? And I'm like anxiously awaiting Raw next week. And this is like a feeling that I haven't really had about wrestling. I'm 29 years old now, since I was like a teenager. So I'm sitting here like, where is this all going? So what Cody and John are doing right now is unbelievable. I think Cody every single day is just blowing me away more and more. And again, I'm somebody who was not as high as I am on him now, maybe a year or two ago. and it's impressive what we've got going. Outside of Cody and John, though, other things did happen on Monday Night Raw. The Women's World Heavyweight Championship match is going to be a triple threat. Rhea Ripley once again interrupting the ceremonial contract signing that we got. Tried powerbombing, keyword tried, powerbombing Io Sky through a table on top of Bianca. The table did not sell. Ouch on that one. That looked rough. But also, it seems like Rhea is going to be playing this desperate character. I'm still caught in the same place of Io Sky playing a little bit of second fiddle, because the back and forth was literally just Bianca and Rhea again, and I don't really know how they circle back from that. But this is kind of the inevitable outcome we thought we were going to get. Surprised? Yes, no? What do you think?
Not surprised. I'll say that. I look at this a little bit differently than you, I think, where I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to play into the fact that Io is second fiddle. Like, this is a feud between Bianca and Rhea, and Io just happens to be the champion, and she happens to have the belt that they're fighting over. And maybe that's just me hoping that they go about it this way, because I think you can tell a great story there, where Io Sky essentially goes in as the third wheel, and throughout the match at WrestleMania, I think you can tell a great story and have her either come out on top or do something that costs herself the title because she's trying to showcase her abilities. Like, we've seen her moonsault off of everything in the world. Maybe she tries something like that, and it ends up high risk, high reward, and she ends up losing it, whatever it might be. So they can tell a really great story there. Am I going to give them the benefit of the doubt? I don't know, because we've seen this a lot, especially with the women's division over the last couple of years, and I'm not going to be like, Triple H doesn't know how to book the women, but it doesn't seem like there are great stories. It seems like, all right, there's a title, and somebody's going to come fight for the title, and then they get it, and then bring on the next challenger. They have an opportunity to tell a really great story. So I hope they do. I just don't know if they're going to be able to, because like you, I see it as maybe it's unintentional that she's the third wheel. Maybe it's that's just how it comes across because that's how they're treating her. So we'll see. But like you said, you asked the question of did you see this coming? I think we saw this coming 3 months ago. Like the second EO was even mentioned as a possibility for the title with Rhea, it was like, all right, this is probably going to end up being a triple threat. It just makes too much sense.
Wow, so good on you, because I was actually not on that. When I heard the announcement of the Io Rhea match, I was, especially the night after Elimination Chamber, and Jason and I talked about this a lot, it didn't make sense to either one of us, and we thought it was just going to be some throwaway. Maybe it had to do with Rhea not being on the Elimination Chamber card, so just giving her a title match and maybe a close call that sets up her and whoever wins the Women's Elimination Chamber match. So I was actually way off on that. But since that moment, and what we've seen over the last couple of weeks, my genuine fear is just Io not getting the time that she deserves, or the spotlight that she deserves in this current situation. And like you said, and this is a total conversation for another day, because I have actually some pretty strong opinions on how the women get booked a lot. My concern is the story that is potentially there to be told does not get executed to the level it should. And
right.
That would be a disappointment in my eyes, because there are times where I think fairly the WWE and Triple H get criticized for their lack of ability to book strong women's matches and strong women's storylines at times. And you have a good one here that's brewing. I genuinely just hope that it doesn't turn out to Io was a backseat driver to basically Bianca and Rhea simply for the fact of they just wanted to have Io in the spotlight and protect one of them from taking a pin at the big show in a few weeks here. Yeah. So I hope that's not the case. But one final thing we got. Go ahead.
Just real quick, I think these are the three best women they have in the company: Rhea, Bianca, and Io. And you're putting them in a position. Just let them hit a home run. Like that's all you have to do. You just have to allow them to be. I think Rhea all around is the best women's professional wrestler we've seen in a very long time. I think Bianca in ring is unbelievable. I think Io, there are a lot of women who try to do what she does with the high flying, like high risk, high reward. A lot of smaller women, obviously. She does it better than anybody else. And I said last week, she's so charismatic. And without being able to speak the language, fully, that they're presenting on TV, she's still the most charismatic woman in the ring. Every time I'm like, she's great. She's awesome. So my plea to WWE is just let them do what they do. Let them be successful, and don't book them into a corner where you're going to end up disappointing people because you're not allowing them to be what they can be.
Agreed. No, believe me, I'm on the same exact page as you. Same exact page. And I hope they tell the story that needs to be told here. One thing that we need to get into before we go, the Intercontinental title picture. I was in my glory a couple of weeks ago because I thought we were getting AJ Styles, Braun Breaker, and that was a match I didn't know that I wanted until I saw the confrontation presented to me. Now, in that same time, or in that span of 2 weeks or so, Finn Balor gunning for a shot. Penta last night made it very clear he wants his opportunity. Dom costing Finn his match this past Monday as well. It feels like this might end up turning into the 5, 6, 7-man ladder match-esque type of match that has wrongfully, in my eyes, and I would like to hear your opinion on that quick, replaced the Money in the Bank match that used to be at WrestleMania every single year, and it pops up from time to time now in its absence. It seems that's the way we're going to go. So, 2 questions. Are you fine with a 6-man match or whatever it ends up being for the IC title? And 2, do you believe that Money in the Bank should have never left WrestleMania?
1, fine with it. Give me as many car crash matches as possible. My favorite wrestling match of all time is TLC 2. It's just dudes throwing each other through tables, jumping off ladders. There's no psychology. It doesn't tell the story, that there are 7 points to a wrestling match. There's none of that. I want dudes throwing each other off of high objects, crashing through tables, and trying to grab stuff off of a cable. Like, that's what I'm into. So give me the ladder match. I want as many of those as possible. Obviously, you can't do that at every... you can't build out a show full of just garbage wrestling. But I want one. Give me one garbage wrestling match at every show. So I'm fine with it. I'm excited about it. I do think that's the direction they're going. Without a doubt in my mind. They have so many good mid-card talents right now that you have to showcase them. And I know there are 2 nights. And on the SmackDown side, there's the U.S. title. It's LA Knight, and it's probably gonna be Jimmy Uso. We'll talk about that at a different time. But I like the idea of having this. With Money in the Bank, now that there's a men's match and a women's match, and then they changed it back when they took it off of WrestleMania and they had their own pay-per-view, it was SmackDown and Raw, right? For each of the world titles. I don't think you could have 2 Money in the Bank matches at WrestleMania. So I understand why they did it. I do miss, WrestleMania is the end of the season, but it's also the start of the season in my eyes. From WrestleMania to the next WrestleMania, that's the football season, the baseball season, whatever. I like the idea of this is the guy. This is the wild card. He can do whatever he wants. He has up to a year. He can wait all the way till the next WrestleMania. He can cash in whenever. I miss that aspect of it, but I understand why they did it, because they have too many of those matches to where you can't just have a full night of car crash wrestling, even though that's my jam.
That's fair. I maybe it's because I grew up with Money in the Bank at WrestleMania, so the nostalgia hits for me a little, and I'm sure you did too. But that's one of those things I just miss. So I guess I'm fine with the IC match as well, if it ends up being something along those lines. Like you said, I completely agree. At least one car crash match, and we got that last year with the ECW Extreme Rules Philly match that they had. Yeah. Give me one car crash match. There's some one-on-ones, and we can get into this maybe next week about what I would like to see develop beyond that 6-man ladder match, whatever it ends up being. But for the sake of not having Money in the Bank, I'm fine with an IC title match having 6 men. But that is all we got time for today. Keegan, as always, thank you for joining me. This was another edition of Ringside Review. If you all made it to the end, greatly appreciated. We'll see you all next week to talk some more wrestling.